All right, good evening and welcome back to the Football Tribe channel. Robert Kesakos is your usual suspect. Welcome back to yet another live broadcast on your favorite football updates channel. That's at Football Tribe UG. It's good to be back. I hope you've had a wonderful start to your week. It's a Monday night. Um, Time check is almost a quarter past the hour of 11 p.m. here in Uganda. So yeah, and tonight we are back for our routine broadcast to, you know, still have another conversation when it comes to everything, transfers and things of that nature. Really, today once again we'll be speaking Manchester United. We'll be speaking Manchester United because today, whether for good reasons or for bad reasons, they've made themselves some news. They've made some headlines here and there, including news that has just broken in the last couple of hours that they've backed out of a £10 million deal with Amazon for a documentary. Apparently, the manager was opposed to it, and so were the club. So, anyways, that is what we'll be speaking about and much more in tonight's broadcast. So, allow me to have our audios tested. So, before we get the conversation underway for tonight. So, anyways, there's really plenty for us to discuss. The FIFA Club World Cup is also on the cards. I remember the semi-finals do kick off tomorrow when Chelsea take on Fluminense. While on Wednesday, Real Madrid will be up against favorites at PSG for that competition. So we'll be speaking about that and more. And then, yeah, so I'll be, looking forward to getting your thoughts about what you feel about those upcoming games, but also what you feel about your club's behavior in as far as the current transfer window is concerned. Are you satisfied that they are doing the right things, or you equally are frustrated by the lack of progress, as some people have, determined it? So welcome back to the Football Tribe UG channel. Robert Kesakos is your usual suspect. I do come to you live from Kampala, Uganda. That's where I'm streaming. And it's a pleasure to have you guys on this evening's broadcast. So while you're still here, please consider liking the broadcast and also subscribing to the channel if you're new here and help me grow on this path. I can see we have Cruz. Hi, Cruz. Where are you joining us from? How are you doing, my brother? Cruz, unfortunately, your name is a bit of a tongue twister. The second name, I can't pronounce it. I wouldn't want to bite my tongue before I'm even halfway or even quarter way this broadcast. But it's good to have you. Kindly like the broadcast and consider subscribing to the channel. It's a football channel. I will bring you the latest from the Premier League updates and beyond. This season is dominated by transfers, speculation, who is moving where, who is going out there and where, and things of that nature. So over the last couple of days, weeks, if not a month, we've been joined by a multitude of you from different corners of the world. Hi, Josh Singleton, 50. Hi, how are you doing? Where are you joining us from? It's a pleasure to have you on the broadcast. Football, I love it. Thank you so much, Cruz. What team do you support? Is there any particular team you pay allegiance to, regardless of where they play? Kindly let us know down in the comment section. But also, more importantly, is where you're joining us from. Just says, all good, my friend. That's nice to really hear. How is the new month treating you guys? How is the hustle taking you? For those that are grinding it out, for those that are still in school, keep it up. For those that are still home trying to find their way, do not lose the faith. So just let me know where you guys are joining us from. Who do you support? I support football primarily. For me, that's the denominator in all this. I support football, and then of course I do pay allegiance to teams like the Uganda Cranes. That's the Uganda national team because I'm a Ugandan. Then I do support Arsenal. I do support Real Madrid, and oftentimes I have a sort of a biased eye for the underdog. I tend to favor the underdog. And also, did you see about Diego Jota? Most definitely. That's I mean, that's been the saddest moment, I think, for us in the football world this year. It's not to say that not many bad things have happened during the course of the year, but as far as the global football fraternity goes, I think that was our lowest moment so far this year. Quite I, unexpected, very, very sudden, of course. Terrible things really. And I can only pray that Jota's family, especially the wife and his kids, then the parents to the two brothers, that's Jota and his brother Andre Silva, can find some purpose to continue living this life. Because usually when you lose your loved ones, sometimes it's easy for us to lose purpose of what life is and the meaning of it all. So that's how I look at it. So we can only put them in prayer for those that are faithful. For those that are not believers, I do not know then how you comprehend death and that kind of thing. But whatever it is that you believe in, just put them in your word or in your thoughts as we go on. Anyways, like I said, we will kick things off. Huma, hi Huma. I live in Turkey. How I become a pro? How do I become a pro player? Huma, if you live in Turkey, I would suggest you begin with your locality where you are. You know, if there's a football pitch, if there's a stadium, just go and ask a local team, even if it's a non-league team. Go ask for trials and show your talents. You never know who is watching, and that can take you to the next step, like that and like that. So it does happen that way. So then record clips of you if you can afford to record clips of you and then distribute and send them out to maybe potential agents, potential clubs, and that kind of thing. Even if you upload them to YouTube or to a certain link that you can share that people can watch, that can be a good start for you. But I do not think there is any other way you can cut it. Just out of the blue. So that's what I would advise. Then, like I said, we'll begin with the front of the FIFA Club World Cup. Chelsea will be up against Fluminense that's tomorrow night at 10 p.m. East African time. When I say tomorrow night, I'm referring to East African time. I do know for certainty that while it is night here, it is day in the United States of America. And usually when I'm doing my morning broadcast, which usually happens anywhere between 8:45 to and 9 something, usually we have people from the USA, planning to go to bed. So I do respect that. So yeah, tomorrow that's the first fixture. Chelsea up against Fluminense. Fluminense, of course, do have a former Chelsea player who is the captain there, in Thiago Silva. Remember, he helped them win the UEFA Champions League back in 2020. He's quite a very, very good leader in that squad. Chelsea on the other side, it's not to say they've had it easy in this tournament, but I mean, their path to this level is maybe has not been as difficult as that of Fluminense, because when you look at Fluminense at the round of 16, they had to knock out Inter Milan. Remember, Inter Milan were the losing finalists of the UEFA Champions League last season. So, they beat them by 2-0. I think that those goals scored by Hercules, and the other was, I think, Cano. Yes, Cano, something. I forget his other name. But yeah, so, and yet in sheer comparison, Chelsea, of course, knocked out Benfica. That was after extra time, 4-1 after extra time. And then we came to the quarterfinals where, Fluminense were up against Al Hilal. Let's not forget, Al Hilal knocked out Manchester City to get to the quarterfinals. And, Fluminense beat them by 2-1 to advance, while Chelsea on the other side were beating up against Pyramides, who have a Chelsea player in waiting. That's a William Estaval. So, and that kind of thing. So we get to tomorrow's game, which is quite crucial because, I mean, first of all, every motivation is there. When you reach the semifinals, you're one step away or you're one step closer to the final, which is 2 steps closer to the trophy itself. And any of these teams, I'm sure, would want to win the inaugural FIFA Club World Cup tournament in this kind of new version and this new trophy that we do have. Then, of course, Chelsea, the other important factor is to discuss is that they have they have American owners. So you can imagine what it would mean for the American owners to have their club win this tournament on home soil, and what that would mean on the financial implications bit of it, but also on garnering more support for the club. At the moment, I think they have no shirt sponsor, so it could go a long way in helping their negotiations with whoever is lining up to have their name in front of that Chelsea jersey. Then for the side of Fluminense, I mean, while during the start of the tournament, I said we were bound to have a dark horse from South America, and I think by all leaps and bounds, by all measures, Fluminense have been that side. They really had to grind it out, and they are into the semi-finals. Then there was an expectation that maybe a Saudi Pro League club would sort of woo us, and Al Hilal did just that, although they fell short in the quarterfinals. But I think their journey can also not be equally underestimated. So there's a lot to play for, both financially, both for bragging rights, reputation-wise, and everything that you can get on such a competition as it does climax. However, while everything goes on, I'm really, really interested to see what sort of impact this tournament would have had on clubs that have reached this stage, especially at the quarterfinals and beyond. What sort of impact it would have on their journeys next season, or how they start next season, or how the entire season runs for them. Because like Pep Guardiola mentioned, that they will have to wait and see, maybe until November, to see what the actual impact will be. Whether will players be tired, will they be getting injured, and things of that nature. While it was a beautiful tournament, it's one that took a bit of a toll on them. So because it has eaten into players' resting time, which is usually the summertime. We discussed here the thoughts of Jurgen Klopp, who did slam the tournament as one of the worst ideas in football ever. While he does share those opinions with many others out there, there are people that are okay with the tournament. I mean, clubs are making some money. Players are going to get paid more money in terms of bonuses and things of that nature. So remember, Real Madrid, we did get reports that Florentino Perez promised them that should they clinch this trophy, then they could get paid up to €1 million in each player. So, and that kind of thing. So you can imagine how things look. Particularly for Chelsea, who are a Premier League team, we do know that the Premier League officially kicks off on the 15th of August when Liverpool play FC Bournemouth at Anfield. So, meaning by the end of the tournament, you have at least a maximum of 4 weeks to get into the new season. So how much time do you give these players off to go and sort of enjoy their summer and rest before you get to start the new season? Not just the players, but also the coaching staff. They did not get their holiday. For some managed to catch an escape away, maybe for about a week or so before the start of the tournament, but also for some, preparations had to start immediately and things of that nature. Then you also have new recruits into the team that you want to use preseason to try and blend them into the team and that kind of thing. So it will be interesting to see where things, look for these kinds of teams going forward for the rest of the future. So that's the fixture that we will have. And when you look at that Chelsea side, I mean, in terms of impact players, Pedro Neto has been one of those key players in that Chelsea side that has caused teams all sorts of troubles. And then, of course, when you look at teams like when you look at Cole Palmer, one of those, I think Enzo Fernandez has been equally good. Liam Delap has not been bad in the games that he started. So there's that sort of food for thought. I do not think Christopher Kunku will start this game, albeit he started in the quarter finals. But Cole Palmer maybe I get the feeling that maybe Moises Caicedo, by anything, does return to that midfield alongside Enzo Fernandez, and then we could see maybe Andre Santos rested. You never know; it could be a double pivot of Enzo Fernandez and Moises Caicedo, depending. That backline, we do not know. Does Trevor Chalobah retain his place, or Tosin Aderabio returns? And I mean, let's wait and see how everything will span out. Does Malo Gusto retain his place at right back, or the captain in Mitchell James returns? Is he injured? You know, he's one of those that are capable of picking up an injury on any given day. So let's not rule out anything. Then on the side of, on the side of, I think, of Fluminense, just excuse me for a bit. Yes, on the side of Fluminense, of course, Thiago Silva will be the leader in that team, as pretty much expected. So it is what it is. Then he's called, I think, Joan Fayetz in that back line, a very, very good player. Then Nonato, yes, leading that line for Fluminense. Then Facundo Banei, Gabriel Fautezi, Matthias Martinelli, one of those danger man in that Fluminense team. So let's wait and see how those teams will fare tomorrow. But we'll perhaps get to discuss about that a little more, or expound on it perhaps tomorrow as well. Then, of course, then we'll also get to talk about that game between PSG and Real Madrid. But I'm sure majority of us are looking more towards that game on Wednesday, because when you compare a pound for pound in regards to profile of the two clubs, I think the other game weighs more. That's between PSG and Real Madrid. So we'll be waiting to see how those teams will equally fare. Then, I mean, PSG are contenders, Real Madrid are contenders. At this stage, anyone in there is a contender. So we can only wait to see. PSG is a very, very hard nut to crack. They're a team that are well within their season. You know, when you're within your season and everything is happening for you right, nothing literally goes wrong, and you leave nothing to chance. PSG are in that season. If it was a business, I think this would be at the point where a business turns into a cash cow. That's where PSG are. If it was about consuming a product, this is what we call the bliss point. You're at that point of bliss before you digress into what happens after you reach a point of satiety, and you then begin to consume less and less of a product. Forgive me for using for an economics analogy for those of you that may not be familiar with the economics, but that's how I do view it. Anyways, quickly, let's leave that at that and run away to Manchester United, because things are not looking really, really pretty at the moment. Of course, today we did receive news as that Victor Osimhen, that's the Nigerian international, had turned down a potential move to Manchester United. Now, we do know that Manchester United had been quoting, they had conversations regarding Victor Osimhen as one of their possible, striking targets. Now, this was after they missed out on their primary target, Liam Delap, who we all know by now has since joined Chelsea from Ipswich Town in a deal worth £30 million when they activated his release clause. That's for the 22-year-old England international. So they did miss out on their primary targets. We do know that they are desperate to bolster their attacking, strength. They've already signed, Matthias Cunha from Wolverhampton Wanderers for £62.5 million. Then they are looking to seal a deal for Brandon Mbeumo. That's, we all know that Brentford are looking at a fee of about £62 to £65 million and guaranteed fees around that kind of region, because they believe their player is a little worth more than Matthias Cunha. I mean, in comparison, Matthias Cunha scored 15 goals last campaign and Brandon Mbeumo scored 20. So overall, Cunha had a 21 goal involvement when you combine goals and assists, while on the other side, Brandon Mbeumo had a goal involvement of 27. That's for goals and assists. So it's only plausible when Brentford make their case to say that, look, we do value our player slightly, a little more than you're trying to offer us at this stage where we are at in this negotiation. So we are waiting, but Man United are still within negotiations to try and get that deal over the line. Of course, because they've sort of dragged their feet on that deal, that is in comparison with the way some clubs have dealt with some deals, particularly Chelsea, with the way they dealt with the Jamie Gittens deal, especially at the concluding stages, with the way they swooped in literally at the last minute to sign João Pedro, who Newcastle were trying to pursue, and things of that nature. They sort of taken Man United fans. They've caused a disruption in the Man United camp for fans to say, look, why are Chelsea getting business as done as quickly as possible, and yet we seem to be dragging our feet for forever, and we're not getting things over the line. So what's happening with us? We are failing to move on the unwanted players in the squad, the likes of Marcus Rashford, Garnacho, Sancho, Anthony, Tyler Malacia. Why are we struggling in moving on players, but also struggling in bringing on players? So things of that nature, really. So then, now that Victor Osimhen has turned Man United down, officially that the 26-year-old Nigerian international faces a move or a return to Turkey in Galatasaray, where he spent last season on loan. And he scored, I think, 26 goals in 29 appearances. That was in the league. Provided, I think, about 5 assists, which was a 31 goal involvement. And then overall, I think he scored 42 goals across all competitions for Galatasaray last season. His goal involvement was 42. Sorry, overall goal involvement was 42 in 47 appearances, which was a very, very good return on investment. Now, the player has known for quite a long time that Galatasaray are interested in his services, and because he has known that, he had requested to be given more time before he decides on his future, and Galatasaray granted that respect. We all know Al Hilal were all over him. They wanted to sign him. They had agreed to pay his release clause that is believed to be 75 million euros to Napoli, pending a player's agreement on personal terms. And that deal just did not happen. He turned them down. We know for a fact there have been lots of suitors across Europe, and Juventus being one of those mentioned in that conversation a couple of weeks ago. Liverpool were mentioned in a similar breath, but nothing has come to fruition on that front. So, let's wait and see. Let's wait and see how things will transpire. But at least he does fancy a move to Galatasaray as opposed to Manchester United. So chances are we will see Victor Osimhen back in Galatasaray colours. We know they already have a deal in place on personal terms, which is about 15 million euros in net pay per season for the Nigerian star. Remember, the contract for Al Hilal was believed to be well in the excess of 40 million euros per season. So it looks like money may not be a motivation after all, but it could be in some form or shape, because United were requesting that he should be willing to take a pay cut if he were to move to Old Trafford, to the theatre of dreams. So now that he's turned United down, do Manchester United turn their attention to Dominic Calvert-Lewin, because they have been linked with a potential move for the ex-Everton player? After 9 seasons at Everton at Goodison Park, Dominic Calvert-Lewin called it quits when he chose not to renew a contract there and walk away as a free agent. He's that kind of player who struggled with a couple of injuries, especially for the last, I think, about 4 seasons. And I mean, I sort of found that one weird, because if you're Manchester United and you're looking for a prime striker, although at the age of 28, you would think that would be his prime, but his numbers really do not indicate that as far as we are concerned when it comes to Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Then you look at him and his entire profile, and he's only had 2 seasons where he's scored at least 10 plus goals, only 2 seasons during his 9-year spell with Everton. And that was during the 2019-2021 season. He scored 13 goals. And then the 2021 season, he also scored 16 goals. Now, 16 goals, that was his best return in an Everton shirt. Now, for those of you that do remember, that was a period when Everton were under the charges of Carlo Ancelotti, so who he spoke highly of and about how he told him to approach, to be sort of the fox in the box, not worry about anything else that happens anywhere else around the pitch. So that was his best return. I mean, we remember Carlo Ancelotti joined Everton. I think that was on the 21st of December 2019. He came in. When he comes in, I think he was he replacing Frank Lampard at that time. So he comes in and then he tries to change their fortunes. Then the following season, that's when they also signed, around that period, that's when they signed Moises Kean, who eventually it did not work out for him at Everton, and he was sent, the subsequent season, he was sent on loan to PSG and things of that nature. But in as far as Dominic Calvert-Lewin goes, those were his best seasons. That was 2019-2020, scored 13 goals, and then 2020-2021, that's when he scored 16 goals. All the other campaigns, he did struggle to even score 10 plus goals. So then you also have the season after that, which is 2021-2022 and 2022-2023, where in each of those seasons, he made only 17 appearances. Again, that gives you a little bit of history when it comes to his injury record, because he's one of those injury-prone players. You would struggle to find a season where he played all 38 Premier League games. So it just doesn't happen very often. I know that many players do not get to have that. But when you look, last season, he made 26 appearances, scored 3 goals, and provided 1 assist. I mean, how is he any different from Maswell, and who scored 4 goals? Joshua Zirkzee scored 3 goals. Then the season before that, which was 23-24, he scored 7 goals and provided 2 assists. Again, a whole combined goal involvement of just 9. And then when you wind things back, slightly back, which was 2022-2023, when he made only 17 appearances, he scored 2 goals and provided 1 assist. I mean, of course, we can argue that those were the Shondite years, and maybe he was not bound to deliver much, but it just doesn't add to his CV to be a strong candidate to join Manchester United. I'm even surprised by the insinuation of it that United would be linked with a potential move for Dominic Calvert-Lewin. But anyway, you never know. Sometimes, and we have late developers are going on to hack it. Then, I mean, by now we are looking at what the alternatives are in the work that Victor Osimhen has turned down Manchester United. Then the other candidate that has been linked with a potential move to Man United has been Ollie Watkins. Now, Ollie Watkins' numbers are not anything to be sort of debated. He has a Premier League experience. He's been there, hacking it. Then also he's had he's 29 years of age, which is prime striker age, and he's been banging the goals season in, season out. Of course, again, he's never reached the mark of 20 Premier League goals, but at least in one of his best campaigns, which was last season but one, that was 2023-2024, he had, I think, a goal involvement of about 32 in 37 appearances, because he scored 19 goals and provided 13 assists. So clearly, that will be a very, very good return. And then last season, he scored 16 goals and provided 8 assists. Again, that's an overall goal involvement of 24. And when you look at the number of fixtures he plays in a season, it speaks about his availability. He hardly gets injured. Last season, 38 games. The 2 seasons before that, 37 games played, and prior to that, 35, 37. So those were his numbers. So when you look at the 5 seasons he's been playing under Aston Villa, you look at goal scored 14, 11, 15, 19, 16, and really that's quite promising. And he also contributes on the assists. And also, more importantly, in terms of his qualities, he can play alongside another striker. He can play as a 10, not just as a 9. So all those capabilities, I think, should entice Manchester United. the experience. Of course, he does turn 30 in December. Maybe that I do not think that should really concern Manchester United, especially for a club that I think went to Arsenal in 2012 and signed Robin Van Persie, who was what? I think he had hit 30 at the time. So for as long as he can deliver, and maybe even the strikers they do already have within their ranks. In Chido Martin Obi, that's a youngster they signed that they got from Arsenal. And then when you look at Rasmus Højlund, who's still 22, when you look at Joshua Zirkzee, who recently turned 24 and has had a sort of a struggling campaign or start to the Premier League, maybe they could learn a thing or two from him in terms of hacking it in the Premier League. So he would come with a good amount of experience, would be highly recommended. I do not think he would cost as much as Aston Villa were trying to ask of Arsenal in January, which was 60 million pounds. I think if you can get him for about 35 to 40 million pounds, it will be a good deal. Sign him on a 4-year contract, which essentially sends him up to the age of about 34, 33 and a half, thereabout. Really would, yeah, he would really get you going because he just knows how to score the goals and he contributes a lot to the team. So anyways, away from Oli Watkins, the other candidate that Manchester United are considering is Hugo Ekitike. That's the 23-year-old French striker at Eintracht Frankfurt. Now, he's one of those also being targeted by Chelsea and Liverpool. So United would have to face competition in trying to land the French striker. Then also his asking price could be out of region for Manchester United, not because they cannot afford it, but because I do not think, or they do not think he is worth that, which is 100 million euros. So then when you look at his numbers are really, really promising for a 23-year-old. He only turned 23 on June the 20th. So he scored 15 goals and provided 8 assists. That's a 23-goal involvement in 33 games last season in the German Bundesliga. Then, of course, he joined Eintracht Frankfurt initially, I think, on loan from Paris Saint-Germain. That was during the 2023-2024 campaign. He joined in February. That's at the tail end of the January transfer window and made 14 appearances. In that campaign, scored 4 goals and provided 2 assists. And that's when they were encouraged to sign him quite expensively. So, and part of the reason as to why he is being overpriced is because I think PSG have a sell-on clause on Hugo Ekitike. So, really, they would have to rival at teams like Liverpool, who have him as their primary target for a striker. They would have to rival at teams like Chelsea. Chelsea had made inquiries about him prior to the start of the FIFA Club World Cup. So let's wait and see if they can go back in. But you can never rule out anything with Chelsea, even when they have 15 attacking players within their ranks on their books. So we can't rule out anything. In fact, in the last couple of days, we've had rumors that they are willing to listen to offers for Nicholas Jackson, that they are willing to listen to offers. They want to let go of Christopher Nkunku. And speaking of Christopher Nkunku, he's one of those that has been linked with the potential move to Manchester United. And while Tottenham Hotspurs where the other club reported to have registered interest in the 27-year-old French forward. Now, I do not see how Christopher Nkunku comes in at Manchester United and improves them. I honestly don't. 27 is a good age, but ever since he joined Chelsea, which has been there for 2 seasons, things have not worked out for him really well. Of course, he did struggle through his first campaign because he made only 11 appearances in the Premier League and scored 3 goals because he suffered a long-term knee injury in that season. And then last season, he made about 27 appearances and scored only 3 goals, provided 2 assists. So that's not a good return on investment. I mean, that's a 5-goal involvement in 27 appearances. For forward, who was really, really banging things at, was it RB Leipzig before he joined at Chelsea? I mean, that's really, really low. That's really, really low. I stand to be corrected on that one when it comes to Christopher Nkunku. But I just do not see how he walks in and improves that Manchester United side. I really do not see it. I just do not see it. I just do not see how he would improve them really as a player overall. When I look at his stats, Yes, he was at RB Leipzig. Yes, and that's why he really posted good numbers that had, his potential suitors sort of slithering to say, maybe there is a very, very finite player in there that we can get our hands on. And Chelsea did just that, because in the German Bundesliga, in one campaign, he scored 20 goals and provided 13 appearances. Sorry, 13 assists in 34 appearances. That was a 33 goal involvement for him, which was quite astronomical. While the following season, he posted a 20 goal involvement, 16 goals and 4 assists in 25 appearances. So he was a hot cake at the time, but things overall have not really worked out well for him at Chelsea. And I think the £35 million asking fee of Chelsea, I even find that really high, because what are you betting on? That the player will sort of suddenly becomes an instant click in the Premier League, where he's failed to hack it in the previous 2 seasons. Maybe he could benefit from a change of systems, maybe, but I think 20 to 25 million pounds should suffice in that case. Then the other player, now this one has not really been officially linked with a potential move to Manchester United. It's more of a consideration. I mean, although he's a late developer, we are talking about none other than João Felipe Mateta, 28 years of age at Crystal Palace. The last 2 campaigns have been really, really good for him. He's been at Crystal Palace for about 5 seasons, and yet he was literally a nobody until 2 seasons ago. Of course, all credit goes to Oliver Glasner, the Crystal Palace manager. But when you look at him, he's played there, 5 seasons. So at least he's primarily proven he wouldn't need to adapt to anything. He does already know the Premier League. Last season, he scored 16 goals and provided 5 assists. Sorry, that was last season, but that's the 2023-2024 campaign. While last season, he posted 14 goals and provided 2 assists, which was a decline from the season before that. But I mean, still, with 14 goals, that's more than all Manchester United strikers combined that they managed last season. So really, a credit to him. So maybe United could think about him. But like I said, he's a bit of a late developer. So that's more than Man United strikers, manage for when it comes to those numbers. I think if there's any player that scored more than João Felipe Mateta at Manchester United, should only be Bruno Fernandes. So that tells you something. So maybe United can sit back and say, maybe, just maybe, we can take them up on that consideration. Then the other player that has been linked with the potential move to Manchester United is Moises Kean. Now, Moises Kean, like I told you earlier on, he did join Everton, I think around 2019 from Juventus, in a deal that was about 40 million euros. Basically, it just did not work out. In his first season, I think he scored just 1 goal or 3, and then he was sent out on loan to PSG, where he scored 13 goals, by the way, during his loan spell in France, in 26 games. So meaning he was scoring at least a goal in every 2 games. Which was quite encouraging, but nonetheless, he ended up returning to Juventus before making the switch to Fiorentina last summer. Now, at Fiorentina, things have really, really worked for him last campaign, because he scored 19 goals and provided 3 assists in 32 appearances. So when you look at that, at one point, I think he played for Genoa also, while he was there on loan from Juventus. So he is a good player. At the age of 25, you can see he's entering his prime. Maybe he's figured things out. And the mere fact that he was maybe able to go to French League One and hack it, and went back to Italy and hacked it, maybe he's matured to a kind of player that could walk into United and get things going. It's just a maybe. Do let me know what your thoughts are on those submissions in regards to Manchester United strikers considerations. Who would you be going for if you are Man United? Is it Oli Watkins? Is it Christopher Nkunku, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, João Felipe Mateta, or Moises Kean, or Hugo Ekitike, or even Benjamin Sesko? I mean, who are you going to go for? But remember, Benjamin Sesko, apparently the asking price is 90 million euros, and they are not willing to budge on that. I think, which is an after effect of what Liverpool paid for Florian Wirtz. So basically, German clubs are saying, I will stick it out because Bayer Leverkusen just did that to Liverpool and sort of got it their way. They got Liverpool to pay £100 million for the 22-year-old German attacking midfielder. So, in that kind of sort of sense and feeling is where I do want us to look at things. So I would be really, really interested in hearing your feedback down in the comment section in regards to those considerations. Should Manchester United be approaching any of those for their strikers? We know they've held initial talks with, or they've made inquiries with Oli Watkins' camp. So let's wait and see if that will bear any fruit going forward. He's a player like we spoke about, had been in potential move to Arsenal in January because Aston Villa had offered him to Arsenal because they were deciding on who, or they had decided to let go one of them. That was between John Duran and Oli Watkins. They ended up letting go of John Duran, who joined Al Nassr. But after 5-6 months at Al Nassr, he's been sent out on loan to Fenerbahce. Still 21 years of age for the Colombian international, so all is not lost. Really, he does know how to bang in the goals. Then basically that's it in regards to Man United. I think that's the gist of it for me in regards to our discussion on Man United. If there's anything, we'll be letting you know. But then, anyways, I went to now the transfer gossip and speculation and, reports from elsewhere. Inter Milan and AS Roma have both reached out to Pyramides to try and sign Richard Rios in recent days as a midfield target. The request from the Brazilian club is about 30 million euros. That's what they want. Then the release clause for Marcus Thuram's contract at Inter Milan is worth about 75 million euros, and that expires tonight. I do not. 75 million euros for Marcus Thuram. Would you pay that? I do not know. Anyway, then this is according to Fabrizio Romano. He says Anthony Elanga to Newcastle is a here we go deal in press, club to club with Nottingham Forest, done for 55 million pounds. Agreement also in place with players camp on a long-term deal. I think this is an impressive signing for Newcastle. Is going to be quite the coup at 23 years of age. Of course, Nottingham Forest get to make a huge profit because they signed him for Man United about 2 seasons ago for only 15 million pounds. So, I mean, that's quite some pretty good business. And at 23 years, he's still developing. He's good with his pace. Can dribble pass a player or two. Good with a final ball for an assist. Of course, sometimes he wants to go himself and makes the wrong decision in trying to shoot a bit too early. But I think we are looking at a player that could further be improved by Eddie Howe at Newcastle. So let's wait and see. Then, okay. Then Rodrigo De Paul from Atletico de Madrid is a target for Inter Miami. That deal is on. Then Victor Gyökeres, we've spoken about him. Personal terms are already agreed upon on a 3-year contract when he joins Galatasaray. Then it now depends on Galatasaray and Napoli to get the deal done for an initial 55 million euros after Al Hilal offered 75, which was the release clause. Now, I think we spoke about this yesterday or the other day, and I was telling you that if I were a club trying to pursue Victor Osimhen, I know how Napoli are desperate to get rid of him to take him off their wage bill. So I would want to wait it out and say, look, I know you want to sell eventually. Of course, you'd sort of live in fear that the potential suitors could come in for him, but it's a kind of decision you would have to live with and say that you wait it out so that you wait for Napoli to budge on their asking price, which is the release clause of 75 million euros, so that they reduce their stance. So let's wait and see on how things will get down to that. Then the other key news of the day is about Edu Gaspar Dawood, the former Arsenal sporting director, has officially been confirmed by Nottingham Forest as their head of global football. As that, yes, is the global head of football. I remember Nottingham Forest are part of a member group that is owned by Evangelos Marinakis, who owns, that's the Greek international who owns Olympiacos. So he will be overseeing footballing affairs there. He had hoped to sort of rise to the position of CEO at Arsenal after Vinay Vegetation left, and that one has since joined Tottenham Hotspur as CEO. Then the other official news was Vokshek Chesney signing his 2-year contract with Barcelona until June 2027. Now, I mean, life is an interesting bit sometimes. We are talking about a player that had officially retired from football, and then suddenly, when Andres McTastagen gets injured, Barcelona, excuse me, give him a call to say, come and play for us. He joins Barcelona, has a very, very wonderful season. They win the treble. That's the La Liga, Supercopa Hispana, and the Copa del Rey. And he earns himself another 2-year contract. Remember, he had retired from football after parting with Juventus. That's for the Polish goalkeeper. So it's official. Anyways, then let's move away from that and quickly. Then apparently there's a whole host of Premier League clubs that have made inquiries about the availability of Douglas Luiz from Juventus. Now, excuse me. Remember, we spoke about Douglas Luiz, or we've spoken about him so many times in days gone by, that apparently he could be offered to Manchester United as part of a swap deal for Jordan Sancho. So let's wait and see. But they've been Juventus have been approached by some Premier League clubs over Douglas Luiz. He has Premier League experience. He did play for Aston Villa and he was quite good at it. Still 27 years of age. So yeah, there's that. So let's wait and see how things will transpire on that regard. Then Rasmus Højlund doesn't want to leave Manchester United. He wants to fight for his place. Then we'll wait and see. Then Paramirez did agree a deal to sign Ramon Sosa from Nottingham Forest for $14 million. That's according to Fabrizio Romano. Then, of course, today, the new AC Milan manager, Massimo Allegri, or Maximiliano Allegri, was speaking to the media, and he did confirm that Mike Maignan, who was a Chelsea target, will be staying at the club. Then he also confirmed that Luka Modric will be joining them next month. That's in August. Then Rafael Leao won't be leaving the club, while he also confirmed the departure of Theo Hernandez, who is joining Al Hilal in apparently a deal worth 25 million euros plus 5 million euros in expected add-ons there. Then, so yeah, that's the bit. Then also Callum Wilson officially leaves Newcastle. He won't be staying at Newcastle. Then also reports that Al Nassr are interested in Gabriel Martinelli, apparently wide of the mark. That's according to Fabrizio Romano. Anyways, here is more of the gossip and speculation. And today we will start with Tottenham, Newcastle, and Napoli are all monitoring England attacking midfielder Jack Grealish, whose asking price is about £40 million for the 29-year-old. Yesterday we spoke about him, and I said I do not think he's worth that at the age of 29, given the kind of football he's played in the last two seasons. I said I do not think so. Then Newcastle remain hopeful of winning the rest to sign McKay, 24, with the club looking to bolster their squad with the addition of the England and Crystal Palace centre-back. So that's according to Guinness Sport. Then also Crystal Palace are themselves in talks with Sporting Lisbon over a potential £45 million deal for Ivory Coast defender Ousmane Diomande. That's according to Guardian. While Italian defender David Calabria, 28, is also a target for Crystal Palace. He is impressed on loan at Bologna last season, but is a free agent after leaving AC Milan when his contract expired. That's according to Sky Sports. Meanwhile, Carlo Ancelotti's son, David Ancelotti, is going to join Botafogo as their new head coach. Yeah, so that's his first managerial role. Following his work with his father at Real Madrid, at Everton, at Napoli. So he had recently joined him at the Brazil national team. So he's being sought after by Botafogo. Then also Newcastle have held fresh talks with Dominic Calvert-Lewin, 28, with manager Ed Howe, a long-term admirer of the England striker who left Everton after his contract expired last month, and has interest from Manchester United. That's according to TalkSport. We've spoken about that. Then West Ham United is 29-year-old Moroccan defender Naif Agat is a priority target for French side Olympique Marseille this summer. That's according to L'Equipe in French. While Manchester United have made an approach to Atlanta and Brazil midfielder Ederson. With the Serie A duo, Inter Milan and Juventus also tracking the 26-year-old valued about 44 million pounds. Now, last summer, this is not the first time Henderson has been linked with the potential move to Manchester United before they decided to sign Manuel Ugarte from PSG. But that one is according to Goal in Portuguese. I do not know. But let's wait and see. We can never say never when it comes to transfer news. Then also, Denmark striker Rasmus Højlund, we've spoken about that one. Meanwhile, United have apparently quoted a £30 million transfer fee for Andre Onana to AC Monaco at the end. Quoted that transfer fee to AC Monaco at the end of last month, but the 29-year-old Cameroon goalkeeper is looking increasingly likely to stay at the club. Then Manchester United are also interested in Nigerian midfielder Wilfred Ndidi, 28 years of age, who has also reported a £9 million relegation release clause in his Leicester City contract with Fulham, Everton, and Crystal Palace all keen. That's according to Tutto Sport in Italy. Then Sunderland, Leeds, and Wolves are interested in Longs and Morocco under 23 midfielder Nail El Anoy, but first competition from Roma, Juventus, and AC Milan for the 24-year-old. So that's the latest from the transfer gossip and speculation. It's been almost an hour of doing this with you guys. 52 minutes on the clock. So thank you so much, Josh. Thank you so much, Cruz, Josh Singleton, Huma, and every single one of you that has been part of tonight's broadcast. It's always a pleasure to see you guys here, joining us every single day, morning and evening, to keep us company as we bring you the latest from the world of transfers, from the world of gossip and speculation, from the Premier League and beyond, in regards to all matters of football. Otherwise, allow me to wish you a blessed, wonderful night. Do not forget to check out our friends at Able State in case you want to learn digital skills like web design, coding, and cybersecurity. Very, very marketable skills in this day and age, this digital age. So do check them out. We'll leave their link down in the description so that you can check out their website, because you do qualify for a 5% discount should you take them up on that offer. They do offer in-person and online training sessions, and they will help you find a job after your training. Otherwise, it's been a pleasure doing this with you. Have yourselves a blessed night, and let's link up tomorrow. As I sign out, Peter Parker joins us. Hi, Peter Parker. How are you doing, my friend? You phone me signing out, but it's always a pleasure that you spare a minute, whether late or not. Better late than never. I mean, thank you so much, Peter, for always, sparing us a moment to be with us. It's been a pleasure doing this with you guys. Let's do it again tomorrow morning at the earliest opportunity possible. Bye-bye, and I'll see you next time. Stay blessed.